Yes, hi. I decided to jump back on. These videos aren't doing nearly as well as I hoped they would. But that's okay. If only one person out there sees this and gets this stuff, one person can actually do a lot because they can tell two more and two more, and so on and so forth. So that's all right. I was one of the few that really understood when a lot of the stuff that I'm telling you today is stuff that Robert Joes had told me. And most of the people never understood what he was talking about. So I don't really expect a lot of people to get this like right off the get-go what I'm talking about, unless you already have experience in it. A lot of it's kind of some complicated stuff. But if you hear it and you're interested in it, you might pick it up, you might tell your friends and so on. And that's how this stuff is really carried. I was probably one of the few that kind of understood where Robert was coming from, because his stuff sometimes is kind of in depth. What I was going to talk to you guys about today is something that's kind of a little funny. The Constitution states that the state shall accept nothing other than gold and silver coin as tender in payment of debt. That's both state and federal constitutions, actually. That they cannot accept anything other than gold and silver coin as tender in payment of debt. And when I met Robert, actually, he already had a guy that was going through the criminal process for failure to pay a fine. And this was how they were handling it. It was really quite clever. They would go before the judge, and you don't want to really be cocky with the judge. You don't want to be, deliberately trying to antagonize him when you're dealing with a case like this. What you want to do is you want to kind of put the onus on him by, well, the way that he was doing it. I was one of the people, by the way, that was in the court taking notes in this particular case. We were all like, because you can't really trust the court reporter to necessarily record things accurately. If there's a tape going on, that's usually pretty safe, and you can get a transcript and stuff like that immediately done. But a lot of times, the court reporter will cover for the judge. So we have people writing down everything that the judge said. So we have this group of people writing in the court, a bunch of freaks. And so the guy's up there, brave guy. This is what we would say. Judge, I want to pay this fine. I mean, I really, truly don't think that I don't want to pay this fine. I just need for you to identify just one thing. I just need for you to identify what it is you want as payment. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, I screwed it up. I need you to identify what it is you want as tender. That's the correct word, not payment, but tender. Well, actually, both will work, but tender's better. Say tender. Okay, remember that the judge can only accept gold and silver coin as tender in payment of debt. He cannot say that, he can, but it's a federal felony. If he says, well, we'll accept Federal Reserve notes as tender in payment of debts, well, the Constitution says that the state cannot accept, the federal and the state Constitution says, they cannot accept anything other than gold and silver coin as tender in payment of debts. Now, if you voluntarily give them Federal Reserve notes and never bring up the issue, then it just becomes the matter after the fact. That's just the way the system operates. But if you raise this issue, that you're not supposed, what it is you want. I understand that the Constitution, Judge. I understand that the Constitution says that you only accept gold and silver coin as tender in payment of debts, and I've been looking for gold and silver coin, but I just really can't find any. I mean, and you go on from that, and it is, and nowadays, it is very difficult to actually find, legitimate gold and silver coin. I mean, you have like the American Eagle and stuff like that, but it's not, you have to get, So you ask the judge, I need you to identify what it is. It was tender. He's not going to say, well, you need to go down and buy the American bald eagle silver coin. He's not going to say that. And he's not going to say some kind of collector's edition thing. He's stuck. He can't really. And if he says Federal Reserve notes, it's a federal felony. So so you basically got him. The judge would definitely squirm when we would do this. It's pretty funny. Most of the judges, just to let you know how the judge would handle it, the judges generally would stutter and stammer and squirm, and they would. One judge would say, "Well, money." Well, money is kind of a vague term. Money could be gold and silver coins. Money. And, one judge actually, I think he might have actually overstepped. He actually said, well, greenbacks. He didn't want to say Federal Reserve notes. But this judge, I don't think he really understood what our point was until he said, Judge, it says right here that the state will only accept gold and silver coin as tender in payment of debt. And I can't find any gold and silver coin to pay you with. So, anyway, it was funnier than how the judges that actually understood that we were talking about, a lot of them would get upset. But I'm not exactly sure what happened with these cases. Again, nowadays it's a totally different ballgame than what was going back in the 90s and stuff like that. But it certainly was interesting to put the judge on the spot and things like that. And I think I'll cut this one short because now, by the way, a lot of these things that I'm telling you about, some of them are my ideas. Some of them are Joseph's ideas. I don't want to be stealing his thunder, by the way. Some people out there probably think that I am by talking, but I do want to let you know a lot of the stuff that I learned was from Joe's and also from other people like David Sells and other different people that have taught me stuff as I've grown up. So I've learned a lot from a lot of different people, but Joe's was like my mentor through the legal stuff that I've learned. A lot of people that know me prior to the mid-90s know me as a completely different person than what I am now. When I went through the 90s, I had a crash course in the law, and I learned a lot. And most people that knew me before then also knew that I was pretty smart, so I was able to learn the law. I probably learned more in 2 years than most attorneys do learn in 8. Because, you'd be surprised what you learn when your back's up against the wall, especially if you're pretty smart to begin with. I was able to crash course through it and picked up a lot. So Robert did teach me quite a bit. And I've continued to learn also as the years go on. I'm not nearly as good at the law as I used to be. I'm also a lot older. Back in my mid-20s, I was sharp, I was quick, and you have to be kind of quick to be able to handle these court cases and stuff like that. Now, if you notice in my videos, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've had to make little corrections underneath and stuff like that. I've gotten older, and plus I've been through a lot. I've really been through a lot, so it's kind of, I'm not as sharp as I used to be. I've had problems with COINTELPRO and MK Ultra. I've had some really bad shit done to me. So I'm not really supposed to be here telling you guys this stuff. My shit was so bad that, they really tried to turn me into a vegetable for a few years, doing all kinds of bizarre shit to me. So I've been through some serious shit. If you've watched any of my other videos, like the Story in Order, you know that whether you believe me or not, I don't care. It's not going to make any difference. But it's just safe to say that I have been through some pretty serious shit. And, they don't want you to know the stuff that I'm talking about now. They really don't want you to know. When I met Joe's, one of the guys that we were locked up in jail with was one of the brothers that was involved in the Mina airport thing. I think I mentioned this on another video, so I'm getting way off on another tangent here. So I'll just shut up. If you don't know about Mina, right now it's still in the conspiracy theory stage, but I have personal experience with it, so it's not a conspiracy theory for me. I don't really talk about that too much. I mostly stick with stuff that the government is actually admitted to. If people follow my posts online, I don't try and go into the conspiracy stuff too much, even though I know some of it is, of course, accurate. But I just pretty much stick with the stuff that I can prove, and I would lightly suggest that, other people that are trying to wake people up, that you do stick with stuff that's verifiable as much as you can. Because there is a lot of verifiable stuff out there. You have COINTELPRO's verifiable, MK Ultra's verifiable, the Contra stuff, the Tuskegee experiment they admitted to, the Guatemalan STD experiments, all this stuff that they've actually done, or that is, that's mainstream, is a great icebreaker as far as credibility. It kind of it shows that the government has shown a pattern of atrocities and abuse and stuff like that. And so if they're willing to do this, how much more have they gotten away with? This is just the stuff that they were caught doing. Imagine all the stuff that they weren't caught doing. Like with my stuff, I don't think I'll ever see justice for what was done to me. But if I can't get justice, that's just the way it is. I'm just gonna continue on. I'm just gonna keep right on trucking. any way that I can. I'm not just going to back down. If I can't get justice through the court, I'll try it through politics. I'll try and wake up as many people as I can. So, but anyway, Joe, a lot of this stuff I'm telling you is our Joseph stuff. I think I probably should do another video actually on how he was able to keep. So I'm about 10 minutes right now, but if there is interest in these videos still, I might do another video on how Joe, this is another one of Joseph's ideas, on how he was able to argue the people that were getting evicted from their homes, especially if it was a state auction. He would go to these auctions, and the bank would like bid $27,000, and he would bid $1 in silver coin. The state shall accept nothing other than gold and silver coin as tender in payment of debt. And if it was like a tax auction, it was very, very clever. And he was able to tie the property up in court while the tenants, the people that were being evicted, were able to stay in the home. And he also had some other really good stuff too, and I'd have to, unfortunately, a lot of my notes were stolen. So a lot of this stuff I'm getting just from memory. And this is going back to the mid-90s. So it is accurate, even though it's been so long. I still remember the important parts of it. I'm not wrong. It's just I'm a little hazy on some of these issues because I didn't get a chance to really drill them into my brain like a lot of the others I've already covered. But anyway, I might do a video on that later. But anyway, the fine thing was just as funny as hell. It really was. I just need you to identify what it is you want as tender. I want to pay this fine. I just need for you to identify what it is you want as tender. It was the funniest damn thing. Anyway, I'll let you guys go. Bye.